Welcome to the Women Lighthouse podcast, your friendly guide through all the ups and downs of life. We're here to remind you that every woman has the strength to take charge of her journey and make her dreams come true. Each week, we'll share heartwarming stories and helpful tips from amazing women who have faced their own challenges, come out stronger. Tune in, get inspired, and let's start this exciting journey towards achieving your dreams together. The Women Lighthouse, your guide to a brighter tomorrow. Hello, ladies. You're welcome to today's episode of the Women Lighthouse podcast. It's great to have you on the show today. Today, we begin a 4-part series on unleashing your hidden potential to make an impact in your world. And basically, in this 4-part series, we'll be taking you on how you can discover your giftings, how you can develop your giftings, how you can maximize your giftings, and how you can navigate challenges when it comes to purposely living your life. So when I say giftings, what do I even mean? When I talk about giftings, I'm talking about your strengths, your skills, and your abilities that you can leverage on to be able to be productive in your life and to impact the lives of people around you. So basically, for you to live a purposeful life, you must follow and discover what your strengths are and begin to give expression to them. So I'll be using my journey to take you through how to discover your purpose and give expression to them. But before I begin with my story, I'd love to share with you what my purpose is. My purpose is to help women live purposefully by providing them with the tools and confidence that they need to realize their full potential. How did I discover this? Let me take you through my journey. Stay tuned. My journey to purpose discovery began in childhood. I'm from a Christian background, and right from a young age, I began to attend children's Sunday school. So not just going to church, but actually being part of children's Sunday school. So I remember then children's Sunday school, basically they would teach you about God, teach you the basics you need to know about God, use music. In fact, children's church while growing up was awesome. And it's that experience I've had that makes me give my children the same upbringing. So my parents were really contributory to my journey in purpose discovery because they brought me up in the way of the Lord. I think that's what I would say. So engaging activities basically that opened me up to being conscious of the fact that God existed. I was created by God and everything I needed to know. So I would say from my primary school stages, that's for the first 10 years of my life, I was already aware of the fact that God existed and that I was created by God. Then going on to secondary school, right from when I got into secondary school, in fact, my ways were ordered by God. So I was in boarding school, but the things that I had learned, I'd entered secondary school at 10 years old. So the things I had learned from church while in primary school helped me because in boarding school, I wasn't with my parents. In fact, right when I was in JS1, my parents were still in Lagos, but my dad got transferred to Abuja and my mom was still in Lagos that time. So occasionally she would come to see me. So that initial period, every now and then she would come to see me and check on me. But I would say that God really held my hand. I was in boarding school throughout the 6 years I spent in secondary school. And when I look back, I see that every step of the way, my steps were ordered by God. Because in JS1, I remember that we had this funny experience where in hindsight, people may say it's hallucination. like visual hallucination. You're seeing things, you're seeing scary images. I remember then when we would read storybooks, they would tell us there's this Madam Coin, like this, those that attended body school will have an idea that there existed this Madam Coin, where in the night you'll be hearing her like a spirit sort of walking, and her shoes will be making coin. So there was that story or that myth. Whether it was real, I don't know, but it was a myth then. But in GS1, people had such encounters where they would be seeing things that with our natural eyes we're not seeing, and there were spiritual attacks here and there. We had to start praying in church because they observed there was a pattern that somebody in JS1 died. In fact, even in my set, somebody in JS1 died. Though she was asthmatic and all, but she died. And I remember that girl self was even under like that spiritual attack, and even pointed me that 2 people were going to be killed. As the spirit was telling her that 2 people would die. And I was one of the people that were mentioned. I remember that night I had a school mother that's a senior, an SS2 student who was like to take care of me while I was in school. So we used to call it then school mother. So I went to her room because the way our hostels were categorized based on classes. So actually I stayed there, and after that night passed and the whole prayers went on, and it happened that everything turned out fine. And after my set, such incidents didn't happen. So I look at it as that was like the first preservation that I had while I was in secondary school. Then also there were just various encounters where I just saw God's hand in my life. I also remember one of these days when my mom came to visit me in school, and basically they were having an event, because sometimes we have social events and social clubs and all that. So people were in the assembly hall, the social event was going on. I attended an all-girls school, so we'd usually invite students from other schools. And if you know Queen's College, which we call it QC, Queen's College, and King's College was for the boys. So QC and KC were like husband and wife, that kind of thing. Like you're seeing a KC boy, you're seeing a QC girl, you understand? So basically, there were boys there, there were people from other schools dancing, rowdy. So when she came, everywhere the classes were empty. I think she noticed that the classes were empty and she didn't see me in my class. So she saw that there was traffic towards the assembly hall. So she went to the assembly hall and she started asking around randomly. So she now found someone who was my classmate and not asked after me that, please, she's looking for me. And the lady said, Mommy, you're not going to see her here. Women is not here. She can't find women in this kind of place. So that was how they went. I don't even know where I was. I can't even remember the story, but my mom would narrate the story. So that was how they found me, but they didn't find me in that hall. So in other words, what I'm trying to say is that the foundation I had was very critical to who I was while I was in secondary school and the path I chose. So this shows the importance of laying the right foundation for our children when it comes to discovery of purpose. You know, discovery of purpose is not a one-time thing. It's a journey. So I was part of the church, and I identified myself with a unit in church, which was the prayer group. We had like different units in church. So I chose to be part of the prayer group. How did I even join prayer group? I think one of my friends just called me one of those days. I was like, come, let's go for prayer group meeting. We usually had prayer group meeting on Saturdays. And that was how I joined prayer group. With time, we used to have this devotion in Monday to Fridays by I think 6 a.m. or 5 a.m. I can't really remember. But basically, I think it was 5 a.m. So during the course of our devotion, there was this day where my teacher and the person in charge of devotion, Mr. Shoyori, told us that we're going to have like a baptism of the Holy Spirit, and began to teach us about the Holy Spirit. We had this series about the Holy Spirit, and shortly before we went on holidays, on Saturday, he fixed a meeting. I was like, okay, we've learned the theory. So now we're going to do the practical. And I remember how it was like, it was an awesome experience. I got baptized in the Holy Spirit in JS3. I think I was maybe about 13 years old then. So by the time I went home and I came back, my relationship with God just took a different turn. It took a different turn. Like, my life was not the same. I began to experience this ability to hear God speak to you through your inner witness, like the Holy Spirit leading me, and my ability to hear his voice and obey. So during the course of school also, I think at some point in SS2, when it was time for them to select prefects, usually in our school, when you're in SS3, that's when you would be a prefect. But in SS2, you shadow for prefects. That was our slang. Like, they prepare you for prefects. So basically, they will look at SS2 students. Among these SS2 students, who can we choose to occupy the role of prefectship when they're in SS3? So for me, my teacher called me, the person in charge, Mr. Ademosho, in charge of our Protestant church, called me and said that he would want me to be the Protestant prefect, and he has selected my name or something like that. So they called us had like an interview. And long story short, I passed the interview round, so I was shadowing for Protestant prefect in SS2. So basically, since by third term in SS3, since the SS3 students are preparing for their final exams, most of the work will now be left for the person shadowing for prefects to handle. So I remember then on Wednesdays, we used to have this religious assembly, and the prefect was responsible for leading both choruses and Bible reading, and sometimes we'll be given the responsibility to preach. I had stage fright, like I wasn't good at addressing the public. Yes, they may have seen a leadership potential in me. I really don't know what they saw in me then, but they saw a leadership potential in me, but I didn't see that potential in myself. So when I would be called up to like lead assembly, like in fact, the night before, the kind of palpitations I would have, I'll be wondering, what am I going to say? What am I going to sing? What am I like? How will I face the crowd? How will I look at the crowd from JS1 to SS3, all the students lined up there, and address them? It was like a big deal for me. But that experience really taught me how to address the public. That was a training period for me. I did not know that at a stage in my life, I would be doing it on a larger scale. So, but that was like the foundation for me on how to address a public and be confident in what I'm saying. So it was a training ground. And that's the beauty of identifying your giftings. You need to look at your experiences, and based on your experiences, identify what are the unique skills and abilities that over the years stand out for you. So another thing that stood out for me while I was in school was there was this time that we had strike. That's the Ministry of Education. I don't even know what the issue was then. I can't remember. But that was the first time ever I experienced a strike. We had the strike, and we were told to stay in school because our 75th anniversary for the school was coming up, and teachers were on strike. So they were not teaching us. We're just going to class. We just play, we do whatever I want to do. They could organize social activities for us. So they now said, since teachers are not on ground, it's we the students that would organize the anniversary with the supervision of our vice principal. They now called, I don't even know what these people saw in me, in all honesty, but they chose me as one of the people that would anchor the event. And I'm like, say what? Like, really? It was, so that event, they invited Dora Akinley and they invited Fela Durotoye. As at then, we knew Dora Akinley. She was doing with NAFDAC. She was big figure, and she was someone I admired. So that event stood out for me. Like, it's an event I will never forget in my life. So basically, when Dora Kinley came, we welcomed her. She gave her speech. That was like, I was like, this is my role model. I want to be like her. I want to be able to be a change maker like her. So that was like my first interest when it came to like being a woman of influence, a woman of substance, a woman in leadership, and a woman that can impact and influence lives. That was the first encounter I had that spurred me in that direction. Then Fela Duratoye now came, and also it was, in fact, it was a patriotic experience. We sang the national prayer then. I think that's the former second stanza of the national anthem with the Nigerian flag. He came with his Nigerian flag, then told us about his vision, about raising a generation that is empowered, motivated, and stirred to operate in national excellence. And I was like, wow, I love this. I want to be like this. I want to be able to speak before people and inspire them and push them to operate in their natural excellence. So that was the second encounter. And that's why that encounter would not leave me for as long as I live, because that was like, it pushed me from where I was into being where I am today. It changed my trajectory and it changed my life forever. So I was leaving secondary school with a purpose conscious and a purpose driven mentality. I just knew I couldn't afford to settle for less. I began journaling my thoughts, journaling everything, like everything I was feeling, everything I was experiencing, all my prayers, all my desires. I was just penning it down. You know how you're communicating with someone, like writing a letter, and you know how you would pray, and there was this emptiness in me that I said, I desire to be filled. Like, God, I just want to be all you have created me to be. So these were like key moments in, let's say, the first 17 years of my life that formed me into who I am today. And through these experiences, I was able to learn leadership. I was able to identify the fact that I had an interest when it came to women. It even pushed me to there was this Bimbo Odukoya then that I also admired, listening to her messages, read her books. So I was more inclined towards women and being an influencer as a woman. Then also, it just helped to strengthen my work and my relationship with God. It helped me to learn to, now in primary school, I knew who God was. But in secondary school, I began to experience who God was. I was able to hear him speak to me in a still small voice or with an inner witness and lead me and direct me. I began to build an intimacy with the Holy Spirit through these different and various experiences that he took me through in secondary school. Then also, it just helped me to gain that confidence in my message. Like, people, they saw a potential in me that I didn't see in myself. But I was able to learn to get comfortable and confident in that potential which they saw in me. So it's one thing for you to identify your gifting and begin to gain confidence in the fact that you can actually use your giftings to make a difference in your world. So this is just a short, abridged version of my story of purpose discovery. So thus far, looking at this, discovery of purpose is multifactorial. There's not one thing that launches you into your divine purpose. It's step by step, day by day, encounter by encounter, influence by influence. As we draw this episode to a close, I want to share with you 5 ways to identify your giftings as a woman. There's no one-size-fits-all approach for this, but these were the things that helped me on my journey of purpose discovery. And the first thing is your experiences. Take a close look at your experiences and the patterns In my own case, through the course of my experience, the patterns I observed were leadership. I won't say I was a born leader, but there were always opportunities to be able to exercise and prepare me for leadership. The second the second pattern I observed was my interest to give back to women. Right from a very young age, it was always there. And at different stages of my life, it just unfolded. And this is where I am today. The second way you can identify your gifts is through mentorship. Who are your mentors? Who are the people that influence your life? Your mentors would help refine the latent potential that is within you and help to bring it out and make it a kinetic potential. So it's important for you to be surrounded by good mentors or connect yourself with mentors once you notice the pattern of experiences you've been having. Then the next thing is your natural skills and ability. What are you naturally good at? What don't you struggle to do? It may be subtle, it may be unrefined, but by the time there's consistent exposure and you are maximizing and you're using that skill and ability, and with experience, it becomes fine-tuned. For me, my skills were organization and coordination. It was so easy for me to organize things, to coordinate things, to plan, to solve problems. Like, it was just so easy. Then also when we're in a group and there's an opportunity, maybe a voluntary opportunity to lead, it was just so easy. It was easy for me to always identify and put myself in that leadership position and just shine through it all because it was just a natural ability and skill for me. Then also influence through my words, like speaking, not like I'm a perfect public speaker per se, but like I just had this inspiration that always came out from me. If I'm to see someone downcast, for instance, or confused or lost, there was just this natural ability to be able to inspire, strengthen, enlighten, encourage the person using my words. So look within you. What are some of your natural abilities and skills and leverage on them? The next thing for me is being led by the Holy Spirit. Like my steps were just ordered. I didn't have to plan things or orchestrate things or events in my life, but through step by step, I just saw the Holy Spirit leading me. Even amidst challenges or obstacles along the way, the Holy Spirit just kept leading me. So your ability to submit to the leading of the Holy Spirit and just allow Him lead you through your journey of life, with that, you will make less mistakes than if you were just doing trial and error without the Holy Spirit's help. Another thing that helped me basically was to seek for knowledge. To seek for knowledge. It really, really helped me. By the time I discovered the patterns and there was this prompting and desire and interest within me, I always immersed myself with resources, either through videos or through books, just to really understand what was going on and why I was experiencing what I was experiencing. And it helped me to make lesser mistakes. And through that, by the time I sought for knowledge, I'll be able to like experiment, explore, and things just became better for me. So in our next episode, I'll continue my story and share with you how you can develop your giftings. Now that you have identified what your giftings, your skills, your abilities are, what can you do to refine them and to develop them? So here are some book recommendations that helped me in my journey of purpose discovery and I believe will help you. Check out all the series on purpose by Miles Monroe. There's Rediscovering Your Purpose, there's Uncovering Your Purpose, Releasing Your Potential. It's a series. You can just check online or any bookstore where books are sold. You're looking for Miles Monroe's books on purpose or potential and feed on them. I was able to do that and it opened my eyes to a whole lot of things. Then another book is Purpose Driven Life. I know I read that book while I was still in secondary school for the first time and wow, it was mind-blowing. Till we see you on our next episode. Bye.
Thank you for tuning in to today's episode of the Women Lighthouse podcast. We really hope today's episode has given you some great tools, resources, and a boost of confidence to take charge of your journey. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to subscribe on our YouTube channel and hit that notification bell so you never miss an update. You can also follow us on our social media handle for even more tips and a wonderful community that's all about supporting your growth. Join us next time for more uplifting stories and encouraging insights. Until we meet again, keep shining bright, stay inspired, and embrace your unique path to a better tomorrow.